All right, everybody, it's turn 22. This is April 1916. We got a little bit of paperwork to do because everybody's wanting to know what these guys are going to do. We got the United States is going to be possibly coming into the war. All right, so we have to look at dice roll modifiers. We got Central Powers controlled Paris -2. Central Players, nope. It's 1916 -3. And they come into the war on a 0 or so. So a -3. So if they roll a 3, that's a 0. So a 1, 2, or 3, they come into the war. Alright, so we got that much. And the Germans are lucky because they stopped in January 1916 the submarine warfare for a year to 1917. So there's another -2. So otherwise, it'd be a 5 or less. They would come into the war. So let's see. Uh-oh. Rolled a 3. That's not good. The United States is coming into the war. Congratulations. You took Paris, and as a result, you caused the Americans to get angry. Yeah, I guess so. All right, so we got another thing to do is one thing I got to do is figure out the verb because they got an entry. Their troops come in at a certain period of time. I think it's just going to be what's 1917 becomes 1916. That's what I think is going to happen. All right, so we got a roll for the weather. Let's see, where's April? We got April over here. There's April and roll 6. Yeah, it's still muddy. Everything is mud. Okay. That's going to slow things down for everybody. So you got a -1 to your movement. Okay. That takes care of all that. So next month we have to look at, I think it's Italy. Yeah. We got to look at Italy next month because in May they have to roll. And then in June we do Greece, beginning in 1916. We'll see if Greece comes into the war. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Greece, -2. So they got a -4, -2. All right, so there's a -2 to the die roll. So they come in with a 0 or less. So if you roll a 1 or a 2, Greece will come into the war next month, possibly. It can happen. It's happened before. All right, we'll be back. All right, here we go. It's turn 22, April 1916, Eastern Front. The Germans went on the offensive. They attacked here and crunched the unit that was there. Some good attacks, good die rolls. They lost, I think, 1 unit in that attack. They did an attack right here across the river, which was very costly. They lost the equivalent, I think, of 3 corps, infantry corps in the process. But they did take the Hex. They got across the river now, but how long they can hold it is another question. We'll just have to see. They did take Brest. They brought the siege guns in, attacked, and crushed it, but at the cost of basically an entire army group of infantry to do it, because basically it was just exchange. A bloody affair of taking that fort. So the fort has fallen there. They still have this defensive line sort of along this river. See how long the Russians can hold that against this weight of troops right here. But that's going to be kind of interesting little affair. They heard that the United States declared war on them, so they was like, well, we got to finish this up quickly before things start happening in the West. And over here, obviously the Austrians are just kind of digging in. They got a fort here, and they're dug in pretty good here. So they got a good defensive line right there. They just need to do something right here to protect this road junction. They're holding that one pretty good. The worst thing that happened, you remember these Romanian troops that were marching north here along the road? Well, they're gone, along with the Germans. I rolled an exchange here and an exchange there. Both attacks were like 4-to-1 attacks, and the end result was exchange. So, yeah. And when you got one German unit and one German unit, when you do an exchange, well, all your troops disappear. Bulgarians here fell back into a defensive line, bunkering up into their country because they know what's coming. The British juggernaut. It's like when the British come out to play, it's like, hey, we found some people we can beat up on. It's like little minor countries. And over here, Germans moved troops up again around Paris, up on the defensive line. And they definitely need to do something about, I'll be honest, I forgot. I was going to move some troops right here. I just remembered it. I was going to put troops here and then start marching down to cut this Cherbourg off, which would force the British to rely on this one port here. So that is what's happening for the Germans. They had some successes, but it was a bloody affair on the Eastern Front, trying to push the Russians back. And it's kind of funny. Yeah, who would have thought that the Germans versus some really good, not really, pretty mediocre cavalry would have, against the Romanian cavalry, would end up with such a result. All right, we'll be back with the Allied turn. There we go, turn 22. It is on the Eastern Front. It's April 1916, Allies. And the Russians went on the offensive. They seen that, well, the Germans kind of weakened themselves trying to push through. So Germans did do good, but they left their lines pretty weak in the process. And the Russians attacked here on the counteroffensive, pushed these guys back, took some out. These guys here are, that corps, what's left of it, is demoralized and had to fall back. There was an attack here. These three corps attacked for here, attacked to there. Took out a couple corps, and one's demoralized and fell back. They hit this flank over here. They took some casualties, a couple exchanges, and pushed the flank around here. So at the moment, it's not looking good for the Germans. They may have to actually rethink about what's going on right now. Over here, the Russians attacked. They lost a couple corps in the process. They took out two Austrian corps, demoralized another, which fell back. And the Romanians showed up. It's like, hey, we can build a railroad. They built a railroad up to Limburg now. So there you go. All right, now the big news of the war so far this year. We lost the Ottomans. Now the Bulgarians are gone. The Romanian tide came across, smashed into Sofia, took out Sofia, and they took some major casualties doing it. It's a bunch of exchanges, but they took the city, and the other city was taken over here by the Brits. So now you have basically Bulgaria is out of the war, so now the Ottomans are gone. Now the Bulgarians are gone. And what's next? Probably going to be Austria-Hungarians, because they're getting their butts handed to them up here with their small little army they got left, and there's nothing really defending down here. They need to ship down some more German troops, but where are they going to get them? That's the question. Over here on the Western Front, well, the Brits landed another army group over here, and eventually they'll get them up to the front. And they decide not to attack. They, just by being there, is causing problems. And as soon as they the interesting thing is, as soon as they can get this rail line built to here, this will all be supplied by friendly supply lines, which will free up the entire Navy, because the Navy is also right now supplying some of these troops down here with supplies. So as soon as they can free up, with friendly cities connected up through Romania, you'll find that all the Navy is now free to start shipping the American troops into France. This could be a bad deal. So, yeah. Oh, and the Russians moved some troops out, so did the Brits coming out of the box over here. All right, so they can get this line. Let's see, the supply line is to here. Right now, the line for the Brits is stuck right here. That's the farthest they can advance the line right now. Next turn, it'll be to, well, depending on the weather. I'm going to do the weather right now while I'm at it. And, well, May, well, I don't have to roll. It's going to be clear in May. So the weather's going to clear, so the line will advance 3. Okay, so the line, when it's done, will be here in this city, allowing British troops to get to being supplied here, be supplied. So, and next turn, they can have almost the supply lines built completely. So it's going to take 2 turns roughly to, but in 2 turns, the British Navy will be free to do what it does best: supply troops. All right, we'll be back.